Today we are going to start a new chapter that is called as biological classification. It is purely based on NEET and other competitive exam. So let's start. So what do you mean by biological classification? So biological classification is scientific procedure. It is a scientific procedure. It is a scientific form. How to group the organism or classify organism into different categories or different groups. So scientific approach to classify the organisms into different groups. So the classification normally based on two different factors. One is called as the similarities and another one is the dissimilarities. So on these two factors, the biological classification this chapter is based. So normally all the organisms we are going to classify are already we have discussed in the first chapter. They are categorized on hierarchy or rank system. So normally they are categorized in rank or they are categorized in taxa format. So let's start. Since at the time of beginning of civilizations, many attempts were made to classify the organisms. But the criteria of classification previously was not a scientific approach. It was not a scientific approach. Normally, the approach was mostly based on food, on shelter and clothing. So it is not a scientific approach. And also we came to know that over time classification systems have evolved and changed a lot. It has evolved and changed a lot. So this modern classification normally reflects on morphological similarities and dissimilarities, physiological similarities and dissimilarities, reproductive similarities and dissimilarities, and also evolution sequences or phylogenetic relationship. So the modern classification is mostly based on that is morphological part, reproductive part, the evolutionary part, and also on the physiological part. So let's start with first how to classify the kingdom or kingdom of classifications. So normally the kingdom earlier system classification are very simple. Why they're very simple? They're only based on morphological character. Morphological characters. So normally earlier the classification was based on morphological character and only one or two characters are taken into considerations. So the first classification given by the scientist that is called as Aristotle. So the scientific approach, initially it was not a scientific approach, but the first scientific approach was given by the scientist that is called as Aristotle. So Aristotle normally classified the living world into plants and animals. So he classified the living world into plants and animals. And accordingly he told that plants are of three types: herbs, shrubs and trees. And for example, suppose these are herbs. These are herbs. So what herbs? Herbs are 2-meter height plant. So mostly the plants which are of 2-meter height, these are called as herbs. Shrubs, these are 6 meter. So these are called as shrubs. Why? Now these are 6-meter plants. And trees are what? Above 6 meter. Above 6 meter height. So according to Aristotle classification, the plants are classified into on the morphological basis, on the basis of height. On the basis of height, that is of 2 meter, that is called as herbs, of 6 meter, that is called as shrubs, and the trees which are above 6 meter. Now later what happened? Here he classified animals on the basis of anemia and anemia. And this anemia and anemia is mostly based on the basis of RBC. What? Now anemia means the organism without RBC. He told that any organism they don't have RBC, like cockroach, they don't have RBC. Some invertebrates, they don't have RBC. So they classified all anemia as organism without RBC. Similarly, they told that anemia are those organisms which do have RBC. So anemia are the organism which do have RBC. So the basis of classification on animal was based on the presence of RBC, but on plants it was based on the morphological height. So later for plants, the morphological sequence are taken for plants. These are taken for plants. But for animals, RBC are taken. For animals, he told that RBC mean the main form of classifications. So let's discuss some questions. So for example, who classified plants into trees, herbs and shrubs? That is Aristotle. And who initially first gave the scientific approach of classification? That is also Aristotle. So Aristotle is the first scientist to provide that is scientific approach. Let's try this at your home. So pause this video and try to answer these questions. Name the group of animals which belongs to red blood cells or having red blood cells. The first scientific approach was given by, and give one basis used by Aristotle for classifying morphological or RBC. So according to Aristotle classification, so Aristotle classified the living world. Aristotle classified the living organism or the living world. According to him, the living organisms are classified into two groups. One is called as the plants, another one is called as the animals. Another one called as the animals. So these plants are classified on morphological basis. Morphological basis. Take that is the height of the plant, and the animals are classified on the basis of that is called as RBC. Got it? And these plants are further classified into three groups. One is called as the herbs. So herbs are the plants which are above or mostly 2-meter plants, and he classified shrubs which are almost 6-meter, 2-meter to 6-meter plants, and he told that then trees which are above 6-meter. So on the basis of morphology, so he classified plants as 2-meter herbs, 6-meter shrubs, above 6-meter plant, that is called as the trees. Similarly, on the basis of RBC, he classified animals as anima. He told anima. What are anima? Anima, organism without RBC. Organism without RBC. And he also told inanima. So what are inanima? Inanima, organism with RBC. Organism with RBC or red blood corpuscles. And this inanima is again classified into two groups. One is called as viviparous. Another one is called as oviparous. Another one is called as viviparous, giving birth to the young ones, and oviparous are laying eggs. So this is how Aristotle classified the total living world or the living organism into two kingdoms. One is the plant kingdom, another one is called as the animal kingdom. But he told that the plants are classified, or he grouped the plants on the basis of morphological sequences. And on the basis of morphological sequences, he told it is herbs, shrubs, and trees. What are herbs? Herbs are 2-meter, shrubs are 6-meter, and trees are above 6-meter. But for animals, he classified animals on the basis of RBC. What? Now, one is anemia, another was called as anemia. What is anemia? Without RBC. What is anemia? With RBC. And this anemia is further classified in viviparous and oviparous. What are viviparous? Organism giving birth to the young ones. And what are oviparous? That they lay eggs. Certain organisms are present like crate. For example, you take the condition of crate, a snake, crate, or take the condition of shark. They are oviviparous. Oviviparous. The oviviparous means that initially they are having egg, and near the cloaca the egg hatch and the young ones come out. So as initially inside the body they are having egg, and outside the young ones are present. The young ones come out. So we do call them oviviparous, and the two best example, crate snake and some sharks. Not all sharks, some sharks. So this is what Aristotle basis of classifications are based. Now let's move into the next part, that is the kingdom formation. So kingdom basis of classification. Okay. Now let's start with two kingdom classification. The two kingdom classification was given by Carolus Linnaeus, and according to Carolus Linnaeus, normally there are two groups of kingdoms are present. One group is called as the plant or Plantae, another group is called as animals or Animalia. So according to him, he followed Aristotle basis of classification, and also he naturally or morphologically classified the organisms, and he told that the living organisms should be classified into two kingdoms, and he first formulated the kingdom system. Accordingly, one is the plant kingdom, another one is the animal kingdom. So two kingdom classification was given by Carolus Linnaeus. So according to him, the criteria, what are the criteria given for the two kingdom classification? Means the first criteria taken that the organism must having a cell wall, or the criteria included a locomotion, mode of nutrition, either they are photosynthetic or non-photosynthetic, or they are auditive or heterotropic. Response to external stimuli means they do have neurons or any chemical coordinations, and also they are taken criteria on the basis of contractile vacuoles. So cell wall presence. Normally when we move on to plant kingdom. Plant kingdom, what we find, the cell wall is present, means suppose this is the plant present, this is the cell present, we find this is the cell membrane present. This is the cell membrane present. But in plants, what happens? We have an external protective covering that is called as the cell wall. So in plant, we find cell membrane, above cell membrane, cell wall is present. But in plant, the locomotion is absent, means plants are non-motile. They are non-motile. Plants are non-motile, for which they have cell wall. As cell wall can withstand all type of season, they can give plant production from all kind of seasons. So for which plants normally are absent, locomotion is absent. And the mode of nutrition, plants never eat. They do not eat. They are not holozoic. They are not autotrophic. They are not mostly photosynthetic, autotrophic. They prepare their food, but they never eat. But the response to stimuli is very slow. Normally they don't respond. Mostly plants don't have neurons, so they never respond to stimuli. But sometimes some plants respond slowly, very slowly. And the contractile vacuoles are mostly absent. Now we know that in animals, a special vacuole present that is called as contractile vacuoles. Contractile vacuoles. And these contractile vacuoles maintain osmoregulation. Osmoregulation. So it maintains the concentration balance in the cell. So this type is only found to be present in animal cells, but it is absent in plant cells. Now move on to the kingdom Plantae. What are the example, best example? Bacteria, algae are examples. These are the bacteria, some algae. And also we have fungi, bryophyta. Initially, this Carlos Linnaeus, he included fungi under plant, which is a great limitations. We'll discuss later. And other organisms, these are the fungi, mushroom, and these are the moss of bryophyta. Pteridophyta called as the ferns. These are the turn of Pteridophyta. And gymnosperms are naked seeded plants. And these are the cycads present. These are cycad gymnosperm. And the flowering plants are the angiosperms. So these are the examples of the kingdom Plantae given by the scientist, that is Carlos Linnaeus. Similarly, he also classified animal on certain criteria, like in animal the cell wall is absent. So animal have only cell and they only have the cell membrane. They only have the cell membrane. They don't have cell wall. And animals locomotion is present and they have leg or they have appendages to move here and there. In animals, the mode is that they can holozoic, they can eat, and also they respond to stimuli is very fast because they have neurons. They have neurons. So neurons means they respond to stimuli. So neurons respond to stimuli, which is very fast. So animals respond very fast. Contractile vacuoles are present, as I told, because they maintains osmoregulation. Osmoregulation. Mostly contractile vacuoles are present in amoeba or protozoa groups. And they include protozoa like amoeba. They include vertebrates, some vertebrates having backbones or vertebral columns. And also invertebrates, they don't have backbones. And also most of the organism and animal kingdoms, they have active locomotions. They have active movement. So what are the limitations? Why this kingdom is not considered as the true kingdom of classification? Because there are certain limitations are present. So what are the limitations? Means Carlos Linnaeus is unable to differentiate unicellular organism and multicellular organism. He also unable to differentiate prokaryotes and eukaryotes. As we know, prokaryotes, pro means primitive, karyotes means nucleus means no nuclear membrane. You have a nuclear membrane present and membrane bound organelles are present. So he is unable to differentiate. And the next, he is unable to differentiate the organisms that are photosynthetic, that they can prepare food, and some organisms that are non-photosynthetic. So these limitations also, there are other limitations present like chlamydomonas, which is found to be present in other groups having both plant kingdom characters and animal characters, but it is included in plants. And similar euglena, which should be in Protista, is included as plant and animals. So these are the basic limitations. So due to these slime modes, they also show plant character and animal character. So as limitations are present, so it's the rule that a new kingdom will be formed. So this two kingdom classification is not a complete form of classification, as there are many limitations present. To overcome the limitation, a new kingdom will be formed, that is will be called as the three kingdom classification. So also in the other limitations, like some organisms did not fit to plants and animal kingdom. and a new kingdom, so for which a new kingdom approach was taken into considerations, and which we'll study, that is called as the three kingdom classifications. Let's start with three kingdom classification. Normally three kingdom classification was given by Haeckel. So Haeckel proposed three kingdom classification. According to him, the third kingdom is called as Protista. He added a new kingdom that is called as Protista. Inside Protista, all unicellular organisms are included. Unicellular organisms are included. Yes, or unicellular microorganisms are included inside Protista. And this Protista kingdom is the third kingdom classification given by the scientist that is called as Haeckel. So normally three kingdom classification, normally we find algae, include unicellular organism algae. They also include unicellular protozoa. They also include unicellular bacteria. They also include, that is, slime molds, fungi. They also include, so in this we have still a limitation is present. Why? Now prokaryotes and eukaryotes are still present in a single group, which is a great limitations. So in this three kingdom classification is also not the complete form of classification, as again we find what, that prokaryotes and eukaryotes are also grouped together. They are not. And also the classification had limitations. As we know, if any classification has limitation, then what will happen? We'll form a new mode of classification. So accordingly, a new mode of classification was formed, and the new mode of classification that is called as four kingdom classification. And this four kingdom classification was given by the scientist that is called as Copeland. And Copeland gave four kingdom classification. According to him, all unicellular organisms or unicellular prokaryotes should be included under a special group that is called as Monera. So he added Monera. So in Monera, what happened? We'll find all unicellular prokaryotes. So he told inside Monera, all unicellular prokaryotes will be included, and in Protista, what happened? Now all unicellular eukaryotes are included. Got it? Okay. So according to him, that all the prokaryotes, he included all prokaryotes, and these prokaryotes should be what? The unicellular organism in the four kingdom classification. And this kingdom also have certain limitations. Why? Now because it is unable to differentiate, unable to eradicate the limitation found in lineage form, that is photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic. So here we find limitation. Means what? Photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic. Photosynthetic and that is non-photosynthetic. Non-photosynthetic. So these are also limitations. So as we find limitations are present, so new kingdom will be formed. And the next kingdom we are going to study, that is called as the five kingdom classification. So this four kingdom classification, what are the examples of four kingdom classification? That is cyanobacteria they include archaeobacteria. These are the primitive form of bacteria. And Monera also contains prokaryotes, This Monera, all prokaryotes are included on this, and these prokaryotes should be what? Unicellular. And in Protista we find what? Unicellular eukaryotes. Okay. Now let's start five kingdom classification. So this five kingdom classification are given by R.H. Whittaker. So according to R.H. Whittaker, in the year 1969, he included fungi. So he included fungi as a kingdom, and accordingly he classified that there are five, total kingdom is five kingdom. So five kingdoms was introduced by R.H. Whittaker with a new kingdom that is called as fungi. Let's move. The first kingdom he told it should be Monera. The second kingdom he told it should be Protista. So Monera must have unicellular, that is prokaryotes, and this contains unicellular eukaryotes, and fungi is a separate group of kingdom which are non-chlorophyllous, but they do have cell wall. Fungi do have cell wall. Means they looks like plant, and they are non-chloro, means heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means they behave as animals. They looks like plant but behaves like animals. And as usual, we have plant kingdom and as usual we have animal kingdom. So in total, we have 5 kingdom. So according to R.S. Whitaker, total 5 kingdom was formulated or is present. So according to him, he classified these 5 kingdom on several features or categories or several criteria like cell wall structure was taken into consideration, means what kind of cell is present, either they are prokaryotes, either they are eukaryotes. Then thallus organ is taken, what is the body form, thallus means body organizations. Then mode of nutrition, either the autotrophic mode or the heterotrophic mode. Then reproduction, the organism can reproduce or not. If they reproduce asexually or they reproduce sexually. Then evolution sequences or phylogenetic sequences. So all these categories are taken to form 5 kingdom classifications. That is by Whitaker. So this phylogenetic means relationship, that is evolution sequences. So let's move. So according to Whitaker, the first kingdom that is called as Monera, the second kingdom that is called as Protista, the third kingdom that is called as Fungi, plants and animals. So let's discuss one by one. So this is the first kingdom. So in Monera, we find what? A unicellular prokaryotes. In Protista, we find unicellular eukaryotes. Got it? And above Protista, what all are present? These are multicellular eukaryotes. Multicellular, that is eukaryotes. Got it? But here is the controversy. What? Some of the plant kingdom, some of the fungi kingdoms, some of the animal kingdoms are included inside Protista, are found within Protista. Some part is found within Protista. Why? This means all the plants are multicellular, but the part which are included inside Protista are unicellular plants. Unicellular plants. Similarly, this part included inside are unicellular fungi. Similarly, this part included are the unicellular animals. So Protista contains unicellular plants. It contains unicellular fungi, that is slime molds, and also it contains unicellular animals. So unicellular animals are protozoans. Got it clear? Now let's move. That if the question arises, which is the diversified form of kingdom? So this Protista is linked with Plantae, Fungi, Animalia, and also linked with Monera. So Protista is regarded as the diversified kingdom. It is diversified kingdom. So Protista is regarded as the most diversified kingdom. If the question arises, which group is called as the connecting link between prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Similarly, Protista. So this part, Protista. So Protista is the connecting link between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So Protista is the connecting link. Between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Got it? So it is a diversified kingdom. It is the connecting link between prokaryotes and eukaryotes, and also is the connecting link between unicellular and multicellular. Also, it is the connecting link. Between unicellular and multicellular. Got it? So not only it is the diversified kingdom, it is also a kingdom which has a link between prokaryotes and eukaryotes, which has a link between multicellular and unicellular. So all the organisms we are discussing here, they all are living organisms. So we also have a non-living organism. So we also have a non-living organism. Here we saw, for example, we have non-living organism. So between living and non-living organism, we have a connecting link that is called as virus. So virus is the connecting link between living and non-living organisms. So this is the 5 kingdom classification mostly given by the scientist, that is R.H. Whittaker. So according to him, the first kingdom is called as Monera, the second kingdom is called as Protista, third, fourth and the fifth. Why this fungi is kept in the middle? Because it contains cell wall, it looks like plants, and they don't have chloroplast, means they behave as heterotrophs, they behave like animals. So fungi is included in the between both plant and animals. And all the three, plant, fungi and animals, are attached with, that is the Protista part. Why? Now this part which is present inside Protista are the group that contains unicellular, because mostly plants, fungi, animals are multicellular eukaryotes, but those parts which are present inside Protista are the groups which contains unicellular plants, unicellular fungi and unicellular animals. So we'll discuss later about details about it. So this is all about the 5 kingdom classifications given by R.H. Whittaker. Now let's discuss about the characteristic feature, or what are the characters present in Monera, or how we'll define Monera. So normally Monera are prokaryotic organism. Yes, they are all mostly prokaryotic organism, as we all know. And these Monera, they have cell wall which are non-cellulosic. Normally plant cell wall is cellulose, made of cellulose and pectin, whereas in Monera we find what? Now the cell wall. Cellulose is non-cellulose. Non-cellulose means they don't have cellulose. Next, they don't have membrane-bound organelles and nuclear membrane. Means they don't have nuclear membrane. Also, they don't have membrane-bound organelles, are absent. And the body organization is cellular. Yes, the body is made up of single cells. The body is made of single cell, but no nuclear membrane. No nuclear membrane. And if cell wall is present, it is non-cellulosic. And also they don't have no membrane-bound organelles present. This is the basic characteristic feature of Monera. And also in Monera, the nutrition is autotrophic. In some group we find autotrophic mode of nutrition. In some group we find chemosynthetic, with help of chemicals they can prepare their own food. And in some group where they don't have pigments to prepare the food, so they're heterotrophs, they depend on others for food. And some, they rely on dead organism. So some organism, they feed or they depend on dead organism, they are called as saprophytic organisms. So these are the basic characteristic feature of Monera. And also these Monera are prokaryotes, as we all know. Okay. Now let's talk about Protista. So what are Protista? So Protista mostly are cell type eukaryotics and they are unicellular. The eukaryotic and they are unicellular. Cell wall present in some and in some we don't find, because in Protista animals don't have cell wall. And also some slime balls also don't have, some slime don't have cell wall. So cell wall is present in some it is absent. Nuclear membrane is present. Yes, nuclear membrane is present. And also in Protista the body organization is cellular. What kind of cellular? The unicellular. And what kind? The eukaryotes. The unicellular and eukaryotes. And also the mode of nutrition is autotrophic. Yes, they can prepare their own food. Some are heterotropic, unable to prepare their own food. That depends on other. Now let's move into the next kingdom, that is called as fungi. So in fungi the mode is, the cell type is eukaryote and mostly they are multicellular. Multicellular type. And they don't have cell wall. The cell wall don't have cellulose. So it is made of special compound that is called as chitin, which is also found to be present in the arthropoda. So these are multicellular organism. The organism is multicellular, and in fungi the mode of nutrition is heterotropic because no chloroplast is present. No chloroplast. They don't have any chloroplast, so unable to prepare their own food. And mostly their mode of nutrition is saprophytic, means they rely on dead organism. They depend their food on dead organism, dead organic matter. And sometimes most of the fungi are also parasitic, means they depend on living host. For food they'll depend on living host. So they are also parasitic in nature. Now let's talk about plants or Plantae kingdom. Plantae mostly eukaryotic and most are multicellular mode type, and the cell wall is made up of cellulose and also it contains pectin and hemicellulose. And the body organ is either tissue type or organ type. So plants are advanced form having tissue organization and organ system present. And also in plants, the mode of nutrition is mostly autotrophic. Some are heteroparasitic, that is we'll discuss later, but most plants are autotrophic. So the nature of auto is photosynthetic, use light to synthesize the food, and the plants are green. Why they green? They are green due to the presence of chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll they helps in trapping the sunlight. So they trap the sunlight for photosynthesis process. Now let's talk about animal. In the animal kingdom, the cell type is eukaryotes, yes, and is also multicellular, except Protista and protozoa. And also the cell wall is absent. In animals only, the cell membrane is present. The animal have cell membrane as the boundary of cell, no cell wall present. And same as body organ tissue label and also by organ system label. Animals never prepare their own food that depends on plants or that depends on autotrophs, so they are heterotropic mode of nutrition. Holozoic means animals engulf the total materials, and also they depend on other organisms for their food, for which we do call them as heterotrophic. Now the problem in the earlier form of classification was what? Now normally what happened earlier, the system of classification, what happened? Now they include bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, plants, they all are included. All of them are included under plant. So this was the major drawback. But after 5 kingdom classification, this drawback is eradicated because all these are present in separate groups. It shouldn't be present in the group that is called as Plantae. And also, all are categorized. Why they are present in Plantae? Now accordingly, they thought that the common character having cell wall, all of them have the cell wall as the common character. So as they have the cell wall as the common character, so they should be included under Plantae, which is not a true mode of classification. Later they also, we know that organisms differ widely. Like prokaryotes are grouped with eukaryotes is also a limitation. So earlier this classification was not good and the classification was not true and not clean. But after 5 kingdom classification, it became clean and it is well organized and well differentiated and well categorized and well taxonomically, systematically it has been categorized. All unicellular are grouped under multicellular, which was a drawback. So these are the drawbacks. Chlamydomonas is grouped under algae, is a drawback. Spirogyra again grouped under algae, is a drawback. Fungi not separate groups and they are included on the green plants. But later we moved the fungi are heterotrophic organism and green plants are autotrophic. So these are the drawbacks. So these are the limitation drawbacks in the earlier system of classification. That is in 2 system, in 3 system, in 4 system, up to 4 system. But later 5 kingdom classification eradicate all these limitations and gave a clean form of classification. So 5 kingdom classification is regarded as the true mode of classification. Is called as the true system of classification. Fungi mostly have cell wall. Cell wall is of chitin. But in plants it is made up of cellulose. So fungi and plants should be separated because fungi are heterotrophs, green plants are autotrophs. Major drawback. Earlier it was included as all. And second, fungi cell wall is made up of chitin, whereas in plants it is made of cellulose. So all these factors for which the fungi is separated from the plant and form a new kingdom, its own kingdom, that is called as fungi. So these are the problems which are found earlier, but after 5 kingdom classification, these limitations, these drawbacks are eradicated and there is a clean, this system is called as the clean mode of classifications. Now let's talk about Monera and Protista. All Monera contains prokaryotes, yes. And in prokaryotes, what kind of, and all Protista, they contains eukaryotes. And all Monera contains prokaryotes and these prokaryotes are unicellular. And all Monera contains, all Protista contains eukaryotes unicellular. So Protista includes Chlamydomonas. Got it? Protista include Chlorella. Protista include Paramecium. Protista include amoeba. These are the animals. And these are the plants. And according to fungi, Protista includes slime molds. So earlier classification placed them differently. So Chlamydomonas is placed in other in algae, and some Euglena is placed in other animals. So but after 5 kingdom classification, these are well categorized and classification criteria changed with the time and future classification will also change due to certain new organism being evolved. So this is all about your 5 kingdom classifications, its limitations, and what are the earlier classification drawbacks and its limitations. And next we'll go for the 6 kingdom classification. Now let's discuss 6 kingdom classification. Later, a scientist named Carl Woese. So Carl Woese proposed 6 kingdom classification. And 6 kingdom classification is normally based on certain criteria. Let's include what are the 6 kingdom? They include archaebacteria, they include eubacteria or the true bacteria, they include Protista, they include fungi, and they include Plantae and animals. So accordingly, what happened? Let's move. That archaebacteria is considered the 1st kingdom, eubacteria is considered the 2nd kingdom, and this is called as the 3rd kingdom, Protista. This is called as the 4th kingdom, and Plantae is the 5th kingdom, Animalia is the 6th kingdom. So according to Carl Woese, 6th kingdom is present. So normally Carl Woese told that this archaebacteria should be present as a separate group because they lack peptidoglycan in the cell wall, because bacteria do have peptidoglycan in the cell wall, as archaebacteria don't have peptidoglycan. So Carl Woese separated this bacteria as primitive bacteria and told it is the first group of classification of 1st kingdom. Again, these archaebacteria members contains branched chain lipids in the cell membrane, but we don't have normal cell membrane don't have branched chain lipids, but these archaebacteria do have branched chain lipids, and also they have the membrane is monolayer, means they are not bilayer. They are not bilayer. So due to this category, due to these features, he told that a primitive bacteria is present, we should name it as archaebacteria. And these archaebacteria and other kingdom, he told they have a common character. So according to Carl Woese, 16S ribosomal genes are present in all the 6 kingdom classification. So in all the 6 kingdom, this is the common genes present, and this RNA is regarded as the noble RNA. This is called as the noble RNA. And later Woese told that on the basis of this 16 ribosomal RNA as present, so he categorized 3 categories, and these categories are called as domain. These categories are called as domain, and he called them as domain of life. And what are the 3 categories? The 3 domain of life included are, that is, bacteria, archaebacteria, and eukarya. So this archaea contains archaebacteria, and this contains the true bacteria. This contains the true bacteria, that is eubacteria, and eukarya contains, that is, plant, fungi, animal or animalia, and also Protista. So according to the 3 domain of life, the first domain archaea contains archaebacteria, the second domain, that is called as bacteria, contains eubacteria, and the third domain, that is called as eukarya, contains Protista, plant, fungi, and animal, because 16S RNA is the common gene present in all these 3 domains for which he categorized. But actually this 6 kingdom of classification is not considered as a true kingdom of classification. Why? Because what is the reason behind why it is not considered? Because why it is not considered as a true kingdom of classification? The main problem is that in this kingdom of classification, the 1st kingdom, that is the 1 and 2 kingdom, these both are Monera. It is not a separate kingdom. It is not a separate kingdom. Got it? So as these both are not the separate kingdom, it is Monera itself. So 6 kingdom classification is not considered 2 kingdom classification, because under Monera, that is, archaebacteria and eubacteria are included. So under Monera, archaebacteria, eubacteria included. So accordingly, if we go under Monera, we have 2 sub-kingdoms or sub-branches are present, and these branches are archaebacteria and eubacteria. So we cannot consider 6 kingdom classification as actual 2 kingdom classification, whereas 5 kingdom classification is all regarded as the 2 kingdom classification. So in Sixth kingdom classification, we got all this thing. And archaebacteria are bacteria which should be included under Monera. These are the subkingdoms. And accordingly, he categorized that there are three domains of life. Domain 1, archaebacteria. Domain 2, bacteria. And domain 3, eukarya. Later, this domain of life have a common ancestor and it is called as progenote. The common ancestor is called as the progenote. Means according to them, the progenote is present. Progenote is present. And due to 16S rRNA, this progenote is evolved into three domains. One is archaea, according to Carl Oz. One is bacteria, and another one is eukarya. So according to Carl Oz, the three domain, the first ancestor, the first life on earth was in the form of progenote, cellular form. So progenote is a cellular form. And from this progenote, due to the presence of 16S rRNA, three domain originate. One is archaea, having archaeobacteria, bacteria having eubacteria, and eukarya having Protista, that is Plantae, that is Fungi, and Animalia. So this is all about the three domain of life given by the scientist that is called as Carl Oz. So these domains are mostly classified or based on evolutionary relationship. It is a phylogenetic condition. Phylogenetic arrangement. But the sixth kingdom is not considered as a true kingdom classification. And here we came to know that the first form of life, first cellular form, is called as progenote. Okay. So quick revision. So first, let's discuss about the scientist and their contribution. So first, Aristotle. So Aristotle first scientific approach was given by Aristotle. Second, Carolus Linnaeus. Two kingdom classification is Carolus Linnaeus. Third, Haeckel. Three kingdom classification was given by Haeckel. Fourth, Copeland. Scientists contributed for four kingdom classification. Then R.H. Whittaker, scientists contributed on five kingdom classification. Scientist Carl Oz contributed six kingdom classification. And there are three domains of life according to sixth kingdom, according to Carl Oz, like a domain bacteria, domain archaea, and domain eukarya. So these are the quick revision. Now let's go for practice questions. So first let's go for assertion and reason. So the first one, that is Whittaker five kingdom classification. The placement of organism was primarily based on yes, mode of nutrition yes, and organization yes. Why he consider yes, prokaryotes, eukaryotes, autotrophs. So these are the reasons for which the answer is A. Got it? Now go to the second classification. The kingdom Monera includes organisms that lack well-defined, yes it is true, membrane, yes it is true, and the prokaryote, all kingdom Monera are the prokaryotes, yes, they contain circular DNA, 70S ribosome that perform all cellular functions within the cytoplasm, yes. As they don't have membrane bound organelles, as they don't have nuclear membrane, the presence of DNA, circular DNA and 70S ribosomes maintain the machinery of this particular organism, that is Monera. So for this reason, this. So it is true. Kingdom Fungi is unique because its members show combination of both plant and animal. Yes, it's true. And the fungi have cell wall made of chitin. It's true, like arthropods. They store food in the form of glycogen. Yes, it is also true. And the heterotrophic move. Yes, both are true. But it is not the correct explanation. So the answer is B. Yeast differ from most of the other fungi because it exists as a unicellular organism. Yes, true. And reproduced by budding. Yes, it is true. But the presence of chitin in the cell wall makes yeast capable of both. No. Both autotrophic and heterotrophic. No. This is not true. So A is true. But this R is false. In most algae, the food is stored in the form of starch. Yes, it's true. Whereas in fungi is stored in glycogen. Yes, it is true. 100% true. Fungi are chemo-autotrophic. No, fungi are unable to prepare the food. Got it? Saprobiotic fungi are vital. Yes, they depend on non-living organisms. So they helps in degradations. They helps in recycling and nutrient cycle. Yes, they decompose dead matter to recycle the nutrients. Which of the following statement of 5 kingdom classifications are correct? Let's move. Whittaker used cell structure body. Yes, this one is right. Virus and virus were included in this system. This particular part is not accepted. Monera includes both prokaryote autotrophs. Yes, it's true. And Protista include unicellular eukaryotes. Yes, it's true. So this 1 is true, 3 is true, 4 is true, but the virus wala is false. Now move to the match the following. These are the scientists: Ivanovsky, that is Bajani, Stanley, and bacteriophages. So accordingly, these are the, you go through it, and these are the discovery and definitions, and the answer is, that is, this one is the answer. Just go through it. Then the main question, that is, consider the following statement regarding Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes. This we haven't gone through the kingdom fungi in details, so it is learnable, but if you know, you can answer it. In Basidiomycetes are diploid to win. Immediately follows is, here is the controversy. Deuteromycetes are crucial ecological decompose of litters, playing a significant mineral cycling. Fungi transport. Okay, this we'll discuss in the kingdom fungi details, and you can able to answer all these questions. And which is the following stages of bacterial reproduction? Okay, we'll study details in that particular chapter, that is Monera. This fusion is there, genetic material is there, conjugation is there, all these things. And for more practice questions, you can follow this particular channel or this particular site, where you will get maximum questions. And here you can go for online exam also, you can go for online exam. If anybody want to prefer for doubt clearing classes or online classes, you can follow this particular site. And if you want direct PDF, all mind maps, worksheets, and MCQ, because per chapter we provide 1000 MCQs per chapter, 700 to 1000 MCQ per chapter. So you can follow this particular site and get all the information. You can simply download the PDF, the mind maps, and also you can go for homeworks or the worksheet assignments. Okay. Thank you. As you all cooperate and watch this video.